So
Yeah.
no more chit chat. All right. Is everyone on the call?
We've got 14 people.
All right, let's allow these people in. All right. Maybe give people just a few more seconds before we kick off.
We'll ping the channel.
All right. And keep an eye out for anyone else trying to join. All right, let's get started. All right, welcome everyone. This is our 27th Town Hall. Again, myself and Rachel will be co-hosting this Town Hall, so let's get started. First up, we have Jared.
Hey, yeah, so some updates on the Kudos stuff. The DApp is kind of more or less complete. I'm pretty sure the contracts are more or less complete. There's just some basic stuff with like learning Embark and dealing with that. I would love like some support with. But it's more or less functionally ready to go. It just needs a bit of styling and some bit of testing. Worst case, we could always just deploy the contract to Rinkeby and start playing around with it. And I can give you some command line sort of things to copy and paste in there to get used to it. But that's it all on that front. And yeah, and we're starting a new swarm. As part of our sort of fundraising efforts, we wanted to get a lot more formalized in modeling our token economy. So Barry has been doing a great job already. Check out his in the swarm. There's a link to his observable user account, and he has a bunch of like models that he started working on. Nabil, Carl, and I have been collecting some empirical growth data from various competitors and other areas of interest. So we'll be plugging that into that. So hopefully, in the near future, we can have essentially a model of what we expect the economy to look like, 1, 2, 3 years down the line, even further. So that'll be really interesting for everybody involved, I think. Also moving forward, like I imagine that a lot of the modeling will happen as a result of this swarm, and that will progress into the sort of changes that we make in status in general. That's pretty much it from me.
Cool, thanks, Jared. All right, jumping in, engagement survey. This is from PeopleOps. PeopleOps, after the town hall, will be sending out a questionnaire survey. It's only 3 questions. It will take no more than 2 minutes. It's just to see how everyone is feeling, and we will post the results and discuss after the survey is complete. So please keep an eye out for that. Next we have Johnny.
So Hutch and I were approached by Rachel and the sticker market team to help source some stickers. They are moving along and getting ready for the release of the sticker market. So today marks the beginning of our next community competition. So I've been working with Hutch to just define the mechanics, and we're giving away 200,000 S&T and a chance to have your stickers, I guess, featured as one of the first packs in the sticker market upon launch. Which is really, really exciting. So phase 1, once again, kicks off today. We'll be asking anyone in the community to We posted a sticker design to Twitter with the hashtag stickerheads. And phase one, basically, we're going to announce 10 winners, 5 of which will be based on the most amount of social engagement, so likes and retweets on social, on Twitter. And then 5 more winners with our celebrity judge, John Perkins of Super Rare. He has kindly agreed to be our judge. That's really exciting. Phase one will last for 2 weeks, and then the top 10, the winners of phase one will then move into phase two, which we will use the voting DAP to define the overall winner and who will be featured in the first sticker pack, which is great. And look out for a blog with official rules, terms, all that good stuff, specs for sticker designs and everything, which will come out right after Townhall. So really excited to kick this off, and kudos to Hutch for doing a great job on this. Cool. And also, so the team was in Denver last weekend, or this previous weekend, at F Denver, and we saw some really, really cool submissions to our bounty track. Our bounty track was to use the status web API or extensions. And I think it was Johan and the Leaped Out team who built the red envelope extension, which is really, really cool. And they were the winners, I believe. And then a PayPig extension, which is allowing to get paid for your photos instantly in chat. You can see there. And then a leaderboard for status based on your assigned pseudo-random name. And once again, it's just really exciting to see people brave enough to hack on extensions and come up with something cool and help push the work along. So really exciting to see that.
Awesome. Thank you, Johnny and the community team, for your awesome work with the sticker contest and also the extensions and DAP bounty track in F Denver. So now on to the S&T utility swarm updates. Rajani, I see that Vitali is on the line, but he's not a panelist. Could we promote him for this?
Yes.
I'm not able to because I can't. Otherwise, I'll give this update for Tribute to Talk.
I see. All right, are you able to talk now?
Hey guys, yes I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi everyone. We're doing the TTT screens and integrating contracts. Screens are in second stage of bug fixing. Virtually everything is complete apart from some scrolling. Most of the minor things have been nailed out, hopefully. I'm virtually finished with the status, with the chat integration of TTT, and now working on the contract backend, integrating contracts, because for now this is connected to stub. It just stores the TTT values in the database. And now the thing which is left is to provide contract implementation, connect to current TTT contract, and we'll be testing it on Robston first.
Awesome work. Cool. I'll give the sticker market update for this week. So great progress here. The sticker market technical implementation of the designs and of the contract work has actually been completed by Andre. So there's a PR in now, which is currently in review for the interface between the sticker market MVP and the contract, which is deployed to Ropsten. So next up there, we've launched this community contest to call for sticker illustrations from the community. We're working also directly with one illustrator who's experienced with creating stickers to create an initial kind of status themed sticker pack. And Corey is continuing to manage the security audit needs for this one before we launch, hopefully by end of March. And that's that for stickers. Yori, are you available?
Yeah. So the telenetwork, we're continuing the designs implementation. It's sort of in a state of flux right now as we modifying the previous workflow to the one that's defined in the designs. But it's going really well. There's been more work to support the arbitration protocol in the browser. So because we want to make this also work on desktop, not on a normal browser, not just on a mobile. So that needs some changes in Murmur to support that. And we also been deploying to testnets and testing if everything works there as expected.
Great. Network incentivization.
So yeah, we are close to closing our research phase. So there is a post from Andrea on Discord. It's been there for quite a while, so I really encourage you, if you're interested, to read it and have some feedback. And then we also started UX exploration, and hopefully by the next town hall we'll have something to show you in terms of designs that you can actually take a look at. And yeah, that's it from us so far.
Awesome. Dap Store, Andy. Do we have Andy? Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I don't see Andy.
I can give a quick update on this one. So Andy, myself, Hester, Julian, and Andre, and maybe Mache as well, all had a call last week to discuss the progress on Dap Store. There's actually a design review scheduled this week for the designs that Mache has worked on. And there's also some work to be done in considering how the overall app navigation is going to work. This was kind of a sub-goal of the Dap Store swarm to redesign status navigation, but there's more thought to be done there. So any implementation will be held off on until we've completed that sort of research investigation phase. And I believe that Ricardo is making really good progress on the contract, which is meant to provide the functionality laid out by Andy in the product specs for using bonded curves as a community curation mechanism. Ricardo, would you like to give an update on how that's going?
Okay, so I'm working in this smart contract that is for now, it's very simple with smart contract. The basic functionality is it to make a ranking of the apps. So when you want to load from the smart contract, it will always give you the top, and from the top you can get the next, like a linked list. And I'm also studying the Bancor bonding curve. So I'm working to implement that bonding curve that they are using. So they have like some things that I need to verify, like how they made the exponential with some precisions. But everything is going well. It's not like something from the other world. We have some example implementations from other people that we can look. So that's Great. For me in the App Store.
Perfect. Thank you. And then finally, I think we have a core improvements update from Igor.
Yeah, so I just added that it's 1.0 in the end of the implementation. We are like quarter-ish through the backlog, and recently we had this 0933 release that the community have seen the progress. Essentially, there was this faster sign-in and other fixes. Yeah, and you probably see from the screenshot that we're still struggling with reliable messaging. There's every now and then some bugs are there. We're also working on the reproducible builds, and Pedro does a great job of doing that. And yeah, so pretty much you can see it from the slide, and we are on track.
Nice, thank you. Next slide. Before we go into the desktop update, just a brief pause. Are there any questions from anybody on the line about the S&T swarms? Nope. Okay, then let's move on. So a desktop update from Volodymyr.
Hi. Do you hear me well?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So recently there were talks that we need to simplify our UI in desktop in terms that we, in our repository, have a different screens implementation for mobile and for desktop, and that causes some problems when we need to add new feature. You have to add it to both places, and like screens become inconsistent. So there were recent research on how we can use the same UI, mobile UI, on the desktop, and that it can be in future extended to be like few pane, to have a few panes when it is extended to desktop dimensions. So last few weeks I was trying to run mobile UI, and it was quite successful. Still has some issues that I presented here on the left side of slide. We have some UI glitches, some chat performance issues, but you can run the YouTube and video and see how mobile UI already works on desktop. So basically we have the same screens same chats. So we can add like new open chats or one-to-one chats and start some communication already. Yeah, so I believe I will need a few more weeks to fix existing glitches, and we can at least for chat commit the changes and receive the like unified UI for both platforms.
That's great. Thank you so much for your work on this, Volodymyr. It would be awesome if we could move closer to feature parity between mobile and desktop.
Yeah, really amazing stuff. Well done.
I think we can go ahead and move on to the next slide, which is an Embark update from Yori.
Hello. So the first thing so I'm going to talk about Embark 4 and as well the new website. So first thing we are working on a new website that better communicates what the framework can do, and as well as a cleaner documentation and learning material. This is the latest iteration of the designs, and we're currently in the implementation phase of the front end for this. And we should release the new website soon together. The goal is to release it together with Embark 4. So next slide. The documentation was also talk about new features from Embark 4, such as Cockpit. So Cockpit is a UI in Embark 4 that has several features. Can go next slide, please. So it includes a dashboard UI, which you have logs, a built-in terminal with auto-suggest, quick overview of the contracts. It has an interactive deployment tool, full-feature blockchain explorer, an IDE, and various utilities useful for developers, for smart contract developers mainly. It also, Embark 4 will include a revamped pipeline, so we're completely changing the pipeline. This is from this list. This is the only thing that is left to do or is ongoing. We pushed the release back because of this feature, because it's a very important feature for developers that are using Embark. It also makes a big difference for the Teller network, as we'll be able to use a even better pipeline. The other stuff is already there. So we have transaction logger, which will essentially decode the transaction and tell you exactly what contract is being called, what method, what arguments. If a transaction failed, it will display the exact line of code that it failed. It has a built-in debugger, and it even has also a code generator, so a developer can very quickly prototype a DApp. And under the hood, a lot has happened. So first, we support now pretty much any ECMAScript now specification, as we're using Webpack and Babel in the code, so we can transpile the code. So that allows us to make use of much more modern JavaScript, even if Node.js doesn't support it yet. So it's making the code way nicer and cleaner. We're also moving to TypeScript. So it's part of the code is already in TypeScript, and because we use the transpilation and we built in the pipeline, we can use both at the same time. And the idea is to eventually move 100% to TypeScript. We also moved the code to a monorepo. This means some repositories like Embark.js have already moved and will be in an archive. This also will allow us to modularize the code even more. And the idea is that probably around Embark 5, everything will essentially be a plugin. Embark will be much, much lighter, and people will just install the modules that they need for the particular DApp that they're trying to do. finally, is that we have shiming support, and by shiming support we mean that it's possible to do project specific versioning of Embark. This is something actually it's quite hard to do. So this means that you can have different projects and have different versions of Embark for each project. It looks easy, but it's actually not quite with Node.js, and it took us a lot of work to get this right and working in all these different platforms. And that's it. That's like a quick highlight of Embark 4. We hope to release it this month or so, and it's very exciting what it brings to the table.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations and big kudos to you, Yuri, and the team for pushing Embark forward while also juggling the S&T swarms.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Shall we move on to Q&A?
Yes. All right. So Q&A will be a little different this town hall. We're going to kick off something new. We launched status-townhall-questions so that people could submit questions ahead of time. And so let's kick off with the first question. Somebody submitted this question. It said, good progress seems to have been made on the S&T utility swarms with an ETA on most. That being said, the network incentive swarms hosting nodes and the status core improvement swarms seem to be further behind and don't have an ETA. Given that the janitor's role is to oversee delivery of the white paper with a hard goal of the end of Q2 2019, what can we expect to see a status V1 public release? Can we expect to see a status V1 public release in Q3 this year? Jared? In response, any?
I can dictate it.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these questions were from Wars Over John, so shout out to him. Yeah, basically, I mean, status isn't really a straight engineering problem. There's like absolutely a reason why there isn't many decentralized peer-to-peer communication tools out there. A lot of there's like a lot of research efforts going into both the UI and like how we actually make these things happen. So getting network incentivization right depends on like a lot of these technical trade-offs. It also starts to tie into like our new protocol research that we're doing, which is going to be a very long process. It's going to take a while. And basically core improvements is the same. Like it's hard to estimate and solve these problems in linear time. However, like, I mean, with the backlog is going pretty well and it all seems pretty on track. The other thing is I wanted to mention here is that we only time box. So time box is basically just sort of like very rough sketches of where we would like to be, but they're not gospel, and we certainly don't set any sort of like public release schedules because basically it is a research, it's like a applied research process that we go through. So, I mean, and of course, you know, this is a community project. If you'd like it to see a public release faster, come chip in and help us out.
Cool. All right. The next question. There has been chatter in the status channels that suggests using the existing mobile framework and incorporating it into the desktop rather than continuing to develop desktop as a standalone. If this happens, can we expect to see a desktop wallet and dApp store? If so, can you elaborate on the approximate timescale?
Yeah, so this is it's already demoed, right? So yeah. Mobile UI is on desktop now. You know, we'll continue to evolve that. It's looking really good. So we'll probably modify that to be like 2 panes. So like the main home screen will be on the left, and then like your main chat context or whatever dApp or wallet will be on the right-hand side. Maybe, like, we don't know, but we did invest a lot into React Native Desktop, so we could have a consistent code base across all the platforms, whether it's on Android, iOS, or any of your desktop flavors. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be happening. Right. As a time scale, you know, like the last question I answered, like, we don't do that.
Okay. The next question again. There is no current date when keycard will be made publicly available. There is, however, a suggested purchase price of $29 when it is made available. Can you elaborate on how the team arrived at this price? Is there a profit margin? And if so, will this go into the DAO pot?
Yep. So this is like you can see the breakdown there. This is done by Guy Louis in his initial presentation. So there is definitely a margin where there's two different models here that you can see. The margin going to the DAO is definitely a great idea, but we don't have the infrastructure for that at the moment. But for us taking a margin, it allows us to do a larger production run the second time, and it also allows us to handle things like recalls and that sort of thing. So I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that the initial beta stuff will start shipping mid-March, maybe. So yeah, I think that pretty much has answered all these questions.
Cool. All right, and the last question we have today is what's the current status of hiring? If we do hire people, how will their compensation work? And JB, this one was for you.
Hi everyone. So we're not currently hiring, although we are. We're looking at a couple of different options for things. We're basically working within the budgets that we set in December after some of the cuts and reductions. So the plan is to work within that budget. If people do leave, then we may look to replace them or use that budget in a different way. So we're not actively hiring, but you may see some small pockets of hiring, I guess, come up in the next few months. And then if we do hire new people, I'm guessing this is kind of reference to some of the compensation changes we made in December. If we do hire new people, their salaries will be kind of benchmarked against, status contributors that are already here. So, just paying everyone fairly and in line with how the organization is currently paid.
Cool. All right. And that was our last question that was submitted via Town Hall questions. Does anybody else have any additional questions that they want to ask? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, this has definitely been the fastest Town Hall. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and support. And we'll see you next week, or in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.